Hey everybody, and welcome to this. We're going to have a little look at the Steam Winter Sale, which started, yesterday actually, as we record this. We're going to talk about some of the games that I've played or some of the games that I'm interested in playing potentially, and how that kind of looks, I guess. I know that a couple of other ASMR content creators also do similar things. I know that iCar Whispers and I think Space Age ASMR also do little looks at Steam sales and things, so you can check those guys out as well. We'll even vote in the Steam Awards as well, actually, while we're there. So we have today, I guess, the centerpieces of the sale. We're also going to look at the Epic Store as well afterwards. We have Fall Guys, we have FIFA 21, and we have The Outer Worlds. So Fall Guys, let's start with. I played that when it was free on PlayStation 4. I thought it looked like quite good fun. Well, it was quite good fun. However, I quickly got bored of it, in all honesty. It was a little bit of a phenomenon, I guess. I think it was something which was a little bit flash in the pan-y. Like, a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon with it, streamers, etc., and it became very popular very quickly. But I feel like it hasn't really had the longevity, perhaps, that it would need to continuously be something people jump into. But as I say, I don't know for sure. I only go by my own kind of experiences on there. I'm sure there's still a lot of people playing. It's not very much money at $12.79. I'd honestly turn around and say, like, if you kind of like these kind of fun mini game kind of things, it is a laugh. $12.79 is a very good price for it, I think, and it's well worth your if you want to look for something that's just a fun, you don't really have to think about it too much as well. I think the skill level is not actually that high in the game. Like, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people who are actually very good at it, but what I mean is that, like, there's enough randomness in the game that you can, you're not going to have, it's not like if you're playing a battle royale game like, Call of Duty or Fortnite or something where, skill really does come into it. It is a bit more random than that. So, you can enjoy it even so. FIFA 21, we have here for just $25.89. That's quite an interesting price here on PC. I don't know how much the console version is going for. It looks like it's the Beckham edition, which gives you, I think, all the stuff with it. Now, you may notice I haven't been playing any FIFA 21 because I don't own FIFA 21. I don't want to own FIFA 21. I feel like I like football games. I've liked FIFA in the past. I've had a lot of fun with FIFA in the past. I just find myself bored of it now. They don't change enough each year. It's a bit of a cash grab with the whole Ultimate Team stuff. That's the only thing they seem to evolve each year. I find the gameplay very, very similar each time. It's never really evolved. There always seems to be like one way of playing that people stick to. There's always certain types of players people really like. And I think it's actually really damaging to football in general, FIFA has been, because kids who grow up playing FIFA nowadays, they're just looking at FIFA as like that's how football should be played, and it's like, well, no, it's not anything to do with it, and like it doesn't matter anything else about players, just how fast they are, etc. So I don't buy it. I think $25.89. If you really want to buy FIFA, you probably would have brought FIFA. So I don't know who that $25.89 is really applying to right now. Maybe some people have some money after Christmas and they're like, yeah, I like football, maybe I'll give it a go. But I actually think, in all honesty, you can spend your money better elsewhere than on FIFA. And let's face it, if you want to play the online stuff, you'll either be spending hours grinding away, or you will have to spend a lot more than $25.89. So, it's not something I recommend personally. The Outer Worlds, I thought, was a very good game. Now, before you spend $24.99, I will say it's on the Xbox Game Pass. Excuse me as I had a drink. So you can, pay monthly and get that for a lot cheaper. But if you don't have that and you wanted to actually own it, $24.99 I think is a good price for the Outer Worlds. It doesn't include the DLC to my knowledge. Let's just check this out. But no, it doesn't. So if you wanted to, you'd have to buy the DLC extra. But that's probably understandable. It's a very good game. I never finished it. It never quite clicked for me, and I'll tell you why. For me, the combat was just not very fun, and that for me let it down. I thought the storytelling was excellent, the world was excellent, the characters were excellent. I just had a real problem with the combat, and it just wasn't very fun for me, and so I stopped playing it. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who really enjoy it, and if it seems like your sort of thing and you can get over, for me, what was just very bland combat, then go for it, give it a go. Now we get into some of the other games available. We have Planet Zoo here for $17.49. Now, I've never played Planet Zoo, but I have played Planet Coaster and own Planet Coaster, and I liked it a lot. And I've been looking at Planet Zoo for a while as something potentially to kind of get into. And I know it's been very positive. It's by Frontier Entertainment, who also make Elite Dangerous and obviously Planet Coaster. So I'm very interested in that. It looks like a really cool game, and I do like these kind of like sim games. I don't know if I would enjoy it. There's enough of me that is like put off by it in terms of the fact that it's a zoo. I just don't know if I care that much about zoos to actually do it. But weirdly, Planet Coaster I really loved and was really into the theme park thing. I just don't know if the zoo really appeals to me in that way, to be completely honest. The Hunter Call the Wild. This is a game I might actually pick up, honestly. At $5.99, this seems like it's worth a punt for something which could be quite good fun. It's obviously a hunting kind of simulator, and from what I know, there's a lot of wandering around looking for your prey and that kind of stuff, but it does look very pretty in terms of a game. I've heard good things. It's very positive on the reviews. 52,000 there. Seems to have an incredible amount of DLC, which actually, by the looks of it, would only cost you 30 quid to get all of that DLC with it, which doesn't seem actually crazy, to be honest. I don't know how good that DLC is. And then the 2021 edition, I don't know what that includes, slightly less DLC, and the 2019 edition, slightly less. So they've split into, shouldn't that be the 2020 edition? Anyway, doesn't matter. But I'm kind of interested in this. I'm not really for hunting in general, but in a video game sense, it looks like it could be quite good fun. So maybe I'll check that. For $5.99, that looks like a bargain. Detroit Become Human. So I played that on PlayStation when it came out. I didn't really like it. I thought it was a little bit pretentious, in all honesty. It's very interesting with the way it does things, and there's so many different choices and ways you can do stuff. I just found the story a little bit like I don't really care. A little bit kind of, So up to you. If you want to give it a go, 20 quid basically doesn't seem like the worst price for it. But I personally would give that a miss. Northgard I've never played, but it actually does look pretty interesting. So I know it's like a strategy game, like village builder, but there's also like combat and other things going on in it. All about Vikings and stuff like that. It does seem very interesting. It doesn't quite interest me too much, I think, because if I really wanted to kind of do this sort of thing, I'd download a mod for like RimWorld and play like the Viking version of that, which I think would probably be a bit better. But it seems interesting enough. Very positive reviews again. City builder RTS strategy colony sim. Might be worth checking out. Doesn't look too bad. Master Chief Collection. Again, it's free on Xbox Game Pass, so $17.99 is a good deal on Steam for what you get for it, which is basically all the Halo games. I don't know if they're all out now. Yes, they're not. So I think Halo 5. Is that the one we're waiting on? No, it just they are all out now because they kind of came out in drips and drabs. But so you can buy them individually if you want to. Having played like 1, 2, and 3 on this particular one, I can tell you that they're pretty good. They've kind of up-resed them a bit, and they play really nicely. And certainly, if you haven't played the Halo games, I'd say, and you're into that kind of first-person-y thing, it's well worth kind of picking these games up and trying them out. And for $17.99, you get a lot for your money, put it that way. So yeah, pretty good. Death Stranding is a game that I really like. So I own it on PlayStation 4. And at the minute, I'm like, I really want to get it on PC because of how much better it will look and the fact that it will play at more than 30 frames per second. But I'm also like, don't want to waste all that progress I've got to then redo it again. I really like this game, and I think it's something a lot of people should give a go to. So I would honestly say that at $27.49, give it a go. Whatever you play in the first hour or two will be very similar gameplay to what you're going to play in hour 10 and 20. So if you don't like it straight away, you won't like it. But I think there is a lot to it than meets the eye. And people who call it, it's got a tag of walking simulator, which I think is very unfair because I think there's a lot more going on in the game than just that. But it is interesting as a game. It is obviously got a lot of different mechanics to it. And I really love the story. It looks stunning. It's got that kind of crazy Kojima story to it, which is kind of mental. Beautiful looking game. The worlds and everything, seeing the little waterfalls come down the mountains and stuff, and the soundtrack is just, the soundtrack is so good. I still listen to the songs from it now. It's so good. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that, and it's something which I'm really thinking about picking up and giving a go to again. But there's so many new games out there. I'm like, do I want to go back into this old game? Persona 4 Golden. Can't honestly say I've ever played Persona 4 Golden. I have played Persona 5 and I liked it, but it is one of those games where, boy oh boy, there's a lot going on in that game. And it's one of those ones where I certainly feel like if you're a person who has limited time, or you're a person who needs to walk away from games for a little while and then try and jump back into them, you're going to struggle with a Persona game. Like, I feel like to get the most out of this, it's the sort of game where you have to play consistently, like 10 to 20 hours a week, to really get a grip of the story and what's going on and stuff like that. So, yeah, but people adore them, obviously. Sims 4. I like The Sims as much as anyone else. £4.19. I mean, it seems like a great price, and it's not terrible. But I will also turn around and say that, like, if you want the full Sims experience, it's going to cost you £384, and that's on sale at nearly 50% for everything. So it'll actually cost you nearly £700. So be prepared that, like, if you buy The Sims, it's not £4.99. It's going to be a heck of a lot more. You can get the digital deluxe edition for $5.39. I'm not sure exactly what that gets you, but yeah, be prepared that, like, a lot of content you have to pay for, and these are really good. And you certainly don't have to buy them all, but you probably will find yourself jumping into a lot of them. And there are some which are really good and some which aren't. I thought Cats and Dogs was really good. I think the Realm of Magic was pretty good. Jungle Adventure as well, I thought was pretty good. These are the ones I've basically played, but I think City Living, Island Living, I don't know about the University. I've never played that. Get Famous, I wasn't particularly impressed with. People didn't like the Star Wars stuff. I think you have to be a real Star Wars fan, and these stuff packs never go down that well on there. So yeah, I think with The Sims, it's one of those things where it's like you have to really love The Sims, I think, and just you probably can get quite a lot for your $4.19, but you're never going to get the full experience. And that kind of bothers me. It might not bother you, but it bothers me a little bit. Total War 3 Kingdoms. I like the Total War series, but I can't honestly say I've played 3 Kingdoms. Very positive reviews though. $22.49. You get a lot for your money in these games. They're big grand strategy games, and there is a certain thrill you don't get in any other game when you have these huge armies just smashing into each other. I play the Warhammer ones and I love them to bits. I don't know if I would feel the same way about this type of thing. And but it does look pretty good. Nier Automata is a game I've never played. People kind of go on about it a lot, but I'm not sure that this kind of third-person action game is 100% for me, so I've kind of given it a miss. You can't play everything at the end of the day. Control I have played. It has a really interesting story, I think, really good. Played it mostly because of the whole ray tracing thing, and it does look very good. $17.49 gets you the DLC as well. I think that's a really good price for it. I think it's not the I think it has really interesting powers. It's not like got the most fluid combat in the world, but it is quite interesting. And if you're a fan of that kind of sort of Twin Peaksy, I'd say, but also kind of like that kind of mystery, surreal kind of mystery kind of thing, then you really like Control's story. I think it's pretty cool. It's very kind of X-Files-y, mixed with Twin Peaks, mixed with all sorts of other things as well. It's really cool, actually. Satisfactory is a really good game. Very, very underrated, in my opinion. You see, it's overwhelmingly positive here from 33,000. Don't sleep on this game because it is really, really good. I got it when it was on Epic. I think it unfortunately had that thing where it went on Epic for a year first, I think, and then it's released in June here on Steam. But the idea of it is that you're on the planet and you have to build these kind of like factories, essentially, which get resources for your company that you work for. And then as you kind of hit each task, you unlock new technology, new equipment to kind of help you. But in the background, what you have are these wonderful, amazing planets that you kind of build on. It looks stunning. And there's also a little bit of kind of story here and there as to kind of like what's going on. You know, it's not, and the factories which you build as well are just so good. You can see you have like train systems. I mean, you know, look at that. It's insane what you can actually build. And I think it's a really, really underrated game. I haven't got anywhere near this level, but yeah, I think it. Don't get me wrong; it has to be one of those things that you are kind of interested in. But I do think that in terms of like, there's things like, say, Factario, which I kind of get people being put off because it doesn't look great, but I hear it's a brilliant game. I haven't played it. Satisfactory is one of those rare games where you have this kind of complex base building, crafting thing, and you have this beautiful open world and amazing graphics with it, which I think is a really interesting kind of thing. And there's a little bit of combat in there, as it kind of says there, with the indigenous life forms, a little bit of exploration to go around and discover things in this open world. It's not just like a tiny little patch you're on. And I think it's a really, really, really good game. Well worth people's time. Avengers, I've heard, is hot trash. I haven't played it. It kind of felt like Anthem 2.0 to me, which was like people having this kind of hype about it. From day one, I did not like the look of this, simply because I just thought the character models did not look right when in that first announcement trailer. I know it's this thing where they're supposed to add people to it and add stories, and it's this ongoing thing. I personally think that this game will die off within a year. In all honesty, I think most people didn't like it, and I think it might die off. If you're really into Marvel, you probably already own this. If you don't, 25 quid might seem fair at 50% off. I personally won't be checking it out. Farming Sim 19. If you like the Farming Sim games, now I do own this, but I think I own it on Epic. If you like the Farming Sim games, then it's worth a go. If you've never played one, obviously it's kind of simple to explain. It's a farming simulator, and my problem with the farming simulator games is like they're fun to do. You get to try all the different things of farming, but for me, there's never any real kind of when you play something like Satisfactory, for example. You start off with like nothing, and you can build up these incredible, huge, great big, complex factory systems, all automated, and you have that. You can go back and look at it and be like, my God. With Farming Sim, I don't really get that kind of satisfactory of like, oh my God, look at this huge farm I've built. Like, I don't feel it's that. It's just this kind of fun game to muck around in, I guess, and drive tractors and stuff, which, listen, for $12.59, it could be worth it, but personally, I feel like they're a little bit overhyped, these farming sim games, in a way. We've got the Mega Man franchise. I've never really played a Mega Man game, to be honest with you. I'm not a huge platformer. I don't know how good any of them are, so I couldn't really comment. They seem very positive, to be fair. Mostly positive. F1, again, I'm not really into F1. But those who are, this might seem good. I mean, you've got 2020 here, which is going to be $22.49. That's 50% off. $7.49 for F1 2019. It looks like very cheap for the F1 game franchise. What does that include then? Oh wow, you can go back all the way to 2011. It actually looks pretty good graphically. F1 Race Stars. That looks like a pretty silly kart racing game. And then all the way up to 2019. So that actually seems quite cool. If you're really into that, you can go back and have a look. And I don't know what was different in 2019 to now, but that could be quite interesting. Shadow Warrior. I do own Shadow Warrior 2, and I have played it a little bit. Oh, we have 3 coming, do we? And it's one of those games where it's like, it's fun, but like you have to really like that kind of fast-paced, first-person kind of samurai like crazy thing. Obviously, the first one was a bit of a classic, 2013. Shadow Warrior 2 came out 2016. Looks a lot better. And Shadow Warrior 2, I guess, coming out this year. It's an over-the-top shooter, basically. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, pass on it, I guess. $6.99 for Shadow Warrior 2 is not a bad price, though, really. Batman franchise. I mean, I personally was never as huge a fan of these Batman games as a lot of people seem to be. I don't know why. They were very good, don't get me wrong. I played a few of them. Never really finished any of them. And they are very good. But for whatever reason, I just never really quite got into them as much. I think the combat for me never quite felt right. But they seem like 75% off does seem pretty good for those. $3.99 for Arkham Knight still will look very good nowadays. I think is quite good. Deus Ex. Deus Ex is an excellent game. I highly recommend Deus Ex if you haven't played it for $2.99. That for me is probably bargain of the day. If you haven't played Deus Ex Mankind Divided, I literally installed it a few weeks back. I was going to do a video on it for like Cyberpunk, because it's kind of like the original Cyberpunk essentially. It looks incredible. Like, this looks like better than a modern game still when you crank it up on your PC. It looks incredible. If you like that stealth action crossover, choose your own path kind of game, plenty of augmentations, really interesting story in my opinion, and just stunning looking game. Which, listen, I've got a 2080 Super, which is certainly not the most powerful GPU out there nowadays, although it is pretty powerful still. And I was running 4K at nearly 100 frames per second with everything maxed out. So it will run well and it will look incredible. So if you want something like that, like, I think it's a no-brainer at $2.99 to pick it up. It's a brilliant game. It really is. Do you have to have played the first one? No, it will explain everything that happens in the first one. I think the first one is very good, by the way, and at 194, it's still a very, very good game. You also don't have to have played the other Deus Ex, the really older ones, which you might struggle with nowadays. But yeah, I think it's a really, really good game. Like Mankind Divided, I think, was a lot of people slept on that one. The Jackbox party games, if you like those sort of party games, I guess you might find something there for you, but it's not really for me. Lego games, again, not really for me. Does anybody not own Grand Theft Auto 5 at any point? I certainly own them all, so there you go. Conan Exiles. It's a decent enough game, but I feel like it when I played it anyway, it didn't have quite enough for me to grasp, like long term in it. But it's a fun game, especially if you play with friends. Metro Exodus, I think, is a very good game, but very bleak. Like if you're into that kind of bleakness, then it's cool, but it can be a bit hard going. At 14 quid, I think it's actually pretty good considering it came out this year. Well, it came out this year on Steam. I think it came out first on Epic. But yeah, it's a pretty good price. I don't think it ever had quite the hit that a lot of people thought it might have been, with, I think, Last Light being a really like underrated game. I think people thought this was going to come out and really knock people's socks off, but it didn't quite do that. It was one of the first ones with the ray tracing, and the ray tracing was good, but it wasn't brilliant, I don't think. So yeah. Assassin's Creed, most people own Assassin's Creed games. I do own Origins. I think I own it on Uplay though, which is why it's not showing. I can give you my opinions here on the Assassin's Creed games, to be fair, because I've played most of these. So it doesn't have Assassin's Creed 1, which is fine because it's very hard to play nowadays. Assassin's Creed 2 is really good. Whenever you go back and play a game like this, bear in mind this is a 10-year-old game. It's going to feel a bit clunky. It's not going to look particularly great, but it is a good game. The story's really interesting. The setting's really nice. It still looks pretty decent. If you crank up the resolution, etc., your combat's not going to feel as fluid as your modern day Assassin's Creed, but it is still a very good game. Revelations I haven't actually played, but I know that this was kind of like the sequel to 2. 3, there is actually a remastered version of this, so I would probably be more tempted to go for that than this version. That's on Uplay. I don't know if they have it on Steam. I would say that I've played a bit of 3, but I never quite got into it. I found it was quite a slow start, and so I haven't played a huge amount of 3, to be completely honest with you. But when it was released, I think a lot of people were quite negative about it, but I think it got a lot better since release, and the remaster now is probably worth checking out. Liberation I haven't played. I think that was originally a Vita game. It doesn't look brilliant, and it's got mixed reviews. Freedom Cry was like a standalone based off of Black Flag. Black Flag's a game which people will tell you and say, you have to own this game. Like, you have to play it. Black Flag's incredible, etc., etc. If you play it now in 2020, bear in mind this game came out 7 years ago, you might not quite see what all the fuss is about. It does have really cool, like, ship combat. It does have really fun gameplay. I wouldn't say the story was one of the strongest in there. The setting's pretty cool, the Caribbean islands, being a pirate, etc., going around doing all that sort of stuff. Worth playing. However, I would, in a way, I would probably play Odyssey over Black Flag nowadays. Now, I know there's a bit of a price difference there. It's about £10 more for Odyssey, but we'll get into that when I talk about Odyssey. Unity, I think, is a really good review. I do think it's still quite buggy. You can see the reviews are mixed currently. Are people saying about that type of stuff with it being buggy? Because I've had problems running it. better graphics than modern AC games. You know what? The graphics are very good. It still does take something to kind of run. What are the negatives? Buggy. Yeah, buggy. I think it is still pretty buggy, and it's not going to get any better, unfortunately. If you can live with that, then this one's kind of definitely worth checking out. The city itself is the main key to it, I think. Paris is just absolutely stunning. And also, Arno was a character a lot of people didn't like. I actually didn't like him at first, but really grew on him. He does come across, like, if you bear with the game for the first sort of 5 hours, he does come across as a bit of a prat, but you do grow into him a little bit. He's a little bit Jacoby from Syndicate, but it's a really good game, and definitely very, if you don't like the way that modern Assassin's Creed games are more about the kind of the combat, this is very much a stealth Assassin's Creed game. Rogue was a game that came out at a similar time, I think, to Black Flag, but it was limited more to the last gen consoles, I think, so the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. As a result, the graphics were never quite on par with something like Black Flag, but a lot of people really swear by Rogue and say it was a really, really good game, a really interesting story, and one of those Assassin's Creed games you should play. I don't know if I'll ever go back and play it, but I actually do own it, weirdly, on Uplay. Syndicate is one of my favourite Assassin's Creed games of all time, just because I just really love the London setting. I just think it's really good. I really liked the character of Evie in it. Wasn't so keen on Jacob, he was a bit of a prat. I really, really like the grappling hook. I think it was a really good thing. I love the story. I love the setting. I love the fact that your base is a train which goes around. Yeah, if you're perhaps not quite as into the kind of history of it, and perhaps you haven't lived a lot of your life in London like I have, you might not have the same affection towards it. Yeah, I think it was one of those games which came in where it was really it was really the transition game between you had Unity, which was the game before this, which was the real stealth Assassin's Creed game. And then after this, you had Origins, which was more based on the combat rather than the stealth. Syndicate's very much in between. There's a lot of like hand-to-hand combat, but you also do have a lot of stealth sections in it as well. So I think there's something for like both sets of people in it. And there's definitely a lot to like about it. Looks like you get all the extra stuff in there as well, which is cool. The gear and outfits and everything like that is really cool. I really like the game. I think it's a really underrated Assassin's Creed game personally, but I could be a bit biased. Next we have Origins, set in Egypt. Really, really like this. Looks wonderful, plays really well. The backstory is really interesting. I will say that after a while, Egypt perhaps gets a little bit flat. After a while, like there's a setting, it's a bit deserty in it. That should be my like unrecommended, bit deserty. Yeah, I mean, also one of the games which people complain about here, where it is a grind fest. It's 100%. So story missions are locked off by what level you are as you go through. And the issue with that is that you then have to grind out side missions. If you just want to get through and play the game, you then have to grind through side missions to raise your level to unlock those story missions. They also coincidentally sell experience packs, which can do that for you automatically, it doesn't sit well with anybody, to be completely honest with you, and something which they have in a new Assassin's Creed got rid of, in so much as there's no level restrictions or power restrictions on the story quests, just on areas, although you can still go to them. It just might be a bit tougher, but it's certainly doable, which is a lot better way of doing it. They still sell the experience packs for people, but at least they don't lock off content until you hit that level, which didn't sit well for a lot of people. But I think it's a very good game. Odyssey, I have kind of mixed opinions about Odyssey. I think it's a really, really good game. Looks great. Greece as a whole is quite stunning. I feel like it's just too big. That's my problem with the game. I have 51 hours in this game, That is nothing to be sniffed at. And I have barely even scratched the surface of the story. Like, in all honesty, for me, it's just too big. I think I would have to spend 150 hours in this to really experience the game. And so a lot of people, you're going to turn around and go, well, that's great. You know, I spent $14.99, and I'll get Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I'll get, you know, for $14.99, I get 150 hours of gameplay. You will, but the gameplay might be a little bit similar through the whole thing. So bear that in mind. Like, go to this camp, take out this person, you know, do this. The ship combat's pretty good fun. The story is pretty good. There's some interesting characters. You know, you obviously have the choice between the male or female protagonist. I don't want to spoil anything there, but like, your choice does kind of affect things. Combat's interesting. The Spartan kick is certainly a lot of fun, kicking people off the edge of things. It's breathtaking in the scale of the game, like the huge size of the world. There's so many things to do. It just, for me, it just felt a bit too overwhelming, a bit too much going on in there. The fact that it even has a season pass and there's extra things you then do is just, Jesus Christ. Yeah. So, as I said, I think people will say, like, oh, Black Flag has the best combat, like, you know, be a pirate or whatever. And like, it is cool, and that is great. But we'll say, like, and especially if you perhaps don't have a state-of-the-art modern computer, like, go back, pick some of these games up. They'll run really well on a computer that might be like, you know, because, for example, if you have a 5-year-old computer, that's still 2 years after this game come out. You know, if you have a 9 series graphics card, which are pretty cheap to pick up, you play Black Flag really well. Don't you worry about that. I remember playing it on a 980, I think, and it ran brilliantly. So yeah, that's my Assassin's Creed thing. I will say, I don't think Valhalla is on offer on here, but I love Valhalla. It's so good. What else do we have in these franchises? Conan, Assassin's Creed, Command & Conquer. I can't honestly say I played it. I am really interested in the remaster, but yeah, I haven't quite kind of got around to it, but I did used to play a lot of Command & Conquer. It was cool. BioShock, if you haven't played BioShock, pick it up. I mean, for this price, under a tenner really, isn't it? Or just over a tenner for those 3 games, and you get the first one remastered, the second one remastered, and BioShock Infinite, which I think they're all incredible games. And you will have a lot of fun in all of them, and your mind will be blown. I can't honestly say I've played any Naruto. I can't honestly say I've played any Galactic Civilizations, despite owning one of them. I don't know why I own it. I've never played it. Tropico. I will say at the minute, Tropico 5 is free today, as I record this on Epic. Tropico 6 is the newest one. Perhaps wouldn't pay £84 for all of them, but it's a fun little city builder game. You know, doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's actually quite tough to play the game. Need for Speed. I think I purchased Heat and played it for about 25 minutes, and then just went, oh god, this isn't for me, and moved on. Elder Scrolls Skyrim. How many hours do I have in this? I think we have to click on it for me to see. 177 hours on record. That's just on this version of the game, the special edition. I think if we went to the other older edition, let me have a look. I can't remember what it's under. Is it under Skyrim or under? Anyway, I probably have like 500 hours in this game easily. Might be under the Elder Scrolls. They do theirs, but let's search Sky. Here we go. I have 459 in the older Skyrim. Then I have 177 in that, and I first played it on Xbox 360. So you can imagine how many hours I have in this game. If you don't own it, I don't know what you've done with your life so far. That's a bit harsh, but you know what I'm saying. You should own Skyrim. You should play Skyrim at some point. Where am I going? There we go. Yeah, if you haven't owned it, like, I just don't know what you're doing with your life. How many more have we got to get through? Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm going to go a bit quicker through this because I realise we're already 40 minutes through. Oh my god, there's so many. So basically, if you want any game ever, it's probably on sale right now. Crikey. I'm trying to look and see if there's anything that really sticks out for me. I might get the season update, but I'm not really feeling playing football games at the minute. I even own the new Football Manager and haven't really played that much of it. City Skylines has 5 million updates for it. Cyberpunk is not on sale. Bestsellers, Football Manager's not on sale. Sea of Thieves, you can get it on Game Pass for free. It's worth pointing that out. It's a fun enough game, but you really have to play with friends, I think, to get the most out of that game. If you go back to the franchises, that's on offer. Mass Effect, save your money. They're doing a remaster of it. $8.99 for Mass Effect 1. That seems like a lot of money, to be completely honest with you. $8.24 for Andromeda. Andromeda is a very good game. People slag it off, and people call it a joke. It's actually a very good game. They fixed a lot of the game, got rid of a huge amount of bugs. It plays really well. The combat is actually really good fun. The story, I think, is really interesting. It suffered from the fact that it wasn't Mass Effect, and I get it. I get when it came out, it had a lot of bugs, and it was one of the first games which really got memed hard with bugs, I think, when it first came out. And I think it was really unfortunate when it came out. It came out just after Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn, both open world games, which were fantastic and brilliant from day one. And then Mass Effect comes out like a month later, I think it is, and it's buggy, and it doesn't quite live up to what people want. And people kind of thought it was way worse than it ever was. But like, it's a solid game. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10 easily. You can see on here, it's very positive. That's 2,000 people saying very positive. People meme Andromeda. Yeah. See, there you go. Nothing like the first or second Mass Effect. And I think if you go into it thinking you're playing a Commander Shepard Mass Effect, like, you won't enjoy it as much. It's a bit more on exploration. It's a bit more kind of open in that respect. It's not quite as tight a story as those were. But I think it looks really nice still. And it does play really nice. And it's a big old game. You'll get a lot of money for what you do on there. So it's kind of worth playing from that perspective. Trying to look at what else there is that might be worth a look at. Sonic Hitman, Dishonored 2. If you haven't played Dishonored 2, I went back and reinstalled that a little while ago. It's so good. It still looks incredible. It plays brilliantly. It is so good. First one's decent as well. I think it might be a little bit more dated now. It's 8 years old. The second one, despite being 4 years old, it's a really incredible game and well worth people playing. You don't really have to know much about the first game to play it. Doom, I've never got into. Just never been into. I totally get why they're good games. I played a little bit of the first one, but I haven't played Eternal. I don't plan on doing. Same with Borderlands. Never really got into them. I've played a fair amount of 2. Didn't bother with 3. Never felt like I missed out on anything. Endless Space, Endless Legend, these are kind of like Civilization, kind of similar games, but a little bit different. One's set in the kind of past or a kind of fantasy land, kind of think Warhammery. That's Endless Legend. One of them set in space, as it kind of says. And really interesting 4X games, but I think you really have to be into that to kind of get them. But they are worth kind of checking out. Mount and Blade. I wanted to love Warband, but there was something about it that it was just a bit too much like a 1.5 of Mount and Blade. That not Warband, Bannerlord. Sorry. So I loved Warband, but Bannerlord for me was just a little bit too much 1.5 rather than actual thing. I'm interested to know what it was really good fun though. Like, there was a lot of fun to be had in the game, and it does look way better. It doesn't quite look 2020 levels of, but it does look a lot better. Still one of those very open world sandboxy games. So if you're looking for something with a tighter story or whatever, then it might not be for you in that respect. What else have we got going on here? Yakuza. I've always enjoyed those. I haven't played Like a Dragon. I've played, I think, Kiwami 2 or whatever. They are really fun games, but there's also a lot of like talking in them. It says it's a beat 'em up, but like there's a lot more talking. If that bothers you, then maybe don't bother. Don't Starve. It's quite an old game now, Don't Starve, isn't it? I've played a little bit of it, but I haven't played any of these updates. Darksiders, I've never played. Ghost Recon Wildlands is a very good game. I think there's better games out there nowadays, though, that you can play. Amnesia, I've never played. X, I've never played. It might be for me, X, because I do like Elite Dangerous, but I'm not 100% sure on it. It does look quite interesting. It's mostly positive on here. Star Wars Fallen Jedi I liked. It's a good game, $21.99, seems like a good price, but you can get it on EA Play, which is only like a $5 a month. So you look at that. If you're going to play it for a month, then you might be better off getting it on there. Middle Earth never really stuck with me, to be completely honest with you. The first one was pretty good, had that interesting kind of system. Forgotten what it's called now. The Nemesis system, I think it is. Yeah, Nemesis. Second one had this kind of similar one, but never quite hit for me. Far Cry, I really love Far Cry. If you haven't played like Far Cry 5 or New Dawn and you want to pick them up, like 10 quid gets you a lot of game for that. I did a video recently on Far Cry 4. In my opinion, it's probably the best one of the lot. It still looks great. Will play really well on older hardware as well. £7.79. It's worth your time. Bear in mind, you can get it on a Uplay monthly subscription service, so you might want to do that instead. God, there's so many games out there. How do people make these videos? There's so much. I'm not even going to go through all of those. Like, what are the let's have a look at games. Like, what's my recommendation then for games under £4? You've got $3.99 to spend your Christmas money, and you want a blinding game. What are you going to play here? That I own. Well, Fallout New Vegas, I think, if you haven't played it, you should do. Yes, it's going to look a little bit crappy nowadays, but trust me, the story on it is incredible. I can't believe The Rise of the Tomb Raider is only $3.99. It's a really good game. Not the newest one, that's Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but I thought it was a cracking game. I finished all the Tomb Raider games and I really like them. So if you haven't played the new Tomb Raider for whatever reason, I think that's pretty good. Grim Dawn at $3.99. It's like Diablo, very deep kind of system, that kind of hack and slash RPG. Really good. So if you like Diablo for $3.99, you can't go wrong with Grim Dawn. American Truck Sim and Euro Truck Sim are brilliant games. However, I will say you'll have to pay a lot more than $3.74 because there's a lot of DLC for them if you want to get the real, true kind of open experience. Trying to see what else. Terraria is a cool game, £3.49. So have we got Age of Empires? It's classic. Oblivion. Do you know what? Mankind Divided is my choice there for the best £4. Like £3 for Mankind Divided, I think is like the bargain of the century if you like that. For under £7 now, I mean, the Elder Scrolls Online, that's cool, but you have to pay a lot more for all the DLC and stuff like that. There we go. Fallout 4. If you've never played Fallout 4, $5.99. Or Elite Dangerous at $4.99. It was free recently on Epic, but Elite Dangerous is an incredible game. Both of those, for 10 quid is incredible value, I think, for what you're getting. You will have to pay a little bit more for Fallout 4 for some of the DLC if you wanted it. But in all honesty, there's so many free mods out there, then it's pretty good. And same with Elite Dangerous, you'd have to pay extra to get the Horizons DLC for it. And then Odyssey comes out next year. But if you just maybe wanted to try out Elite Dangerous and see what it's like, it's an awesome game. I highly recommend it. So I think we'll leave the Steam sale at that. Is there anything interesting on Epic? Valhalla's you can save £8 on. I love Valhalla. I will say that Legion, Phoenix Rising, and Valhalla, they're available on Uplay. Like, this is on PC, obviously. I think it's £15 for a month. So if you're better off just paying £15 and trying these games out, you can play all of them. If you want to play a lot of games over Christmas, like, you can't go wrong with them. But if you just don't like doing that and you want to buy it, then my favourite game probably the year so far has been Valhalla. I think it's incredible. Haven't played Godfall. Squadrons is one I've been meaning to try out. I might do that next year. I know it's fairly short, but only 20 quid. It's pretty good. Division 2 for £7.79 will get you a lot of fun. It's a really, really good game, I think. You can get Tropico free today. I'm interested in trying out this game, Airborne Kingdom. It looks quite interesting. I don't know what else there is that's really standing out on offer. Cosmocrats. I've never heard of it. Some of these games I've never heard of. It's quite interesting. Death Stranding is the same price at £27.49. Iron Harvest looked quite interesting. It was kind of mechs, but in World War One. Yeah, some of these games haven't come out yet, so they're pre-purchase. Most popular, get Grand Theft Auto. Again, I don't know who doesn't have this, but you can get Grand Theft Auto. Rogue Company. There's nothing there that's too exciting, to be honest with you. Red Dead 2, if you haven't got it, 36 quid. Elite Dangerous, 19.99. Bear in mind, I think the reason why it's on there is because it was free a few weeks back. Watch Dogs 2. Again, you can get on the Uplay pass. There's looks like a Satisfactory Christmas update. That's interesting. Hitman. Yeah, there's nothing really that interesting there on the Epic Store. Let's have a look on the Steam Awards. Shall we vote now? So, vote for my Game of the Year. The nominees. Oh, okay, interesting. The thing is, I don't think this counts. It's released in December 2019. I don't think I can vote for that in good conscience. I think Death Stranding is the one I've got to vote for, in all honesty. I played Hades on Switch and it's pretty good, but I wouldn't vote for it on PC personally. Doom Eternal I've not played. I'm not hugely into them. I wouldn't vote for Fall Guys. And Red Dead 2 I think is really good, but that's last year in my opinion. I know it would have missed out on the voting, which is why they've got it in here, but it also came out and I played it on PlayStation 4 before then. VR Game of the Year. I don't feel I can really vote for this, but I know everyone is kind of screaming about Alex, so I'll just vote for that. Labour of Love. This game has been out for a while. The team is well past the debut of their creative baby, but being the good parents they are, the devs continue to nurture and support their creation. Right, okay, so the one I would actually turn around and say here would be RimWorld on this, but it's not up for nomination. Among Us, I know it's been out since 2018. It kind of exploded this year, but I don't really think that compared to, say, Terraria or No Man's Sky, it can really compare. No Man's Sky, for me, would get the award. They constantly do incredible free updates for that. Witcher 3 is great, but they haven't done anything this year, have they, for Witcher 3? So, yeah. Terraria, again, they did do an update this year, but that was their last one, I believe they did. Better with Friends. So the ones I played, I would definitely say Sea of Thieves on there. Is really good. I've played that multiplayer. It's really good fun. And I feel like it's one of those games where you can play it on your own, but it's so much better with friends. Whereas Fall Guys, playing it with randoms is just as fun as playing it with friends, in my opinion. Most innovative gameplay. I want to play Teardown, but I haven't played it yet. And it's only recently come out, so I know a lot of people really like it. If I'm going for one, I'm going for Death Stranding. Control was good. I don't feel like it was hugely innovating. I think a lot of other things have done stuff in there, but Death Stranding is pretty different. Outstanding story-rich game. Horizon Zero Dawn only came out on PC this year, which is why that's in there. I feel like I have to vote for Red Dead. I don't really want to, but out of all of them, that would be my best one. Best game you suck at. I have Crusader Kings 3. I do suck at Crusader Kings 3. I've got it on, well, it's on Game Pass, if you wanted to try it out. But the other ones I just don't really like. But Crusader Kings 3 is good, but yeah, it's one of those games where you have to really know the game inside out. Outstanding visual style. Battlefield 5. Weird one. Definitive edition. Really? Weird. Marvel Avengers, outstanding visual style. Wow. Are they... Okay. Visual style doesn't aspire to real-world graphic fidelity. It describes distinctive look and feel that suffices an entire game. So weird. I would go for Ori and the Will of the Wisps on that one. Best soundtrack. Halo Master Chief. Yeah. I haven't really played much of the other. Need for Speed, I just didn't like it. Sit back and relax. So Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think, would probably be the one here, because as much as like Satisfactory, I love the game, I don't think it's necessarily a sit back and relax game. Like, there's quite a lot going on, but with Microsoft Flight Sim, I feel like it is a case of like plug it in, admire the view sort of thing. That's why you're playing the game. It is incredible. That's it. That's my votes kind of made. We'll see who wins. Let me know who you voted for, but otherwise we're going to finish up the video just there, I think. So yeah, if you want my recommendations, Deus Ex, I think is an incredible price for that. That game, well worth the price. Check it out. Till next time, guys. See you soon. Bye bye.